Yesterday, we were talking about we completed the node side how to test the API. We created two people. One is register, another is login. So we did finish that yesterday. So that is what the register and the login. And we tested these two through Postman. We tested it and we found that it is working. Now we are integrating to the Angular. In Angular, the same thing is done through a module called HTTP service module. We created a service module. So we pre-created this service.ts file. So in this service.ts file, we created a HTTP service, and then we created these two methods underneath the constructor, and we need a HTTP client for that. So we are using Angular HTTP client, which is coming from the common directory of Angular. So we are taking this HTTP client and connecting through HTTP client. So HTTP client is basically this one, this.http post. So this is a asynchronous operation. So we are waiting for the data because there is a stream data, there is a small bytes of data. In our case, we are using a small byte of data. So we are waiting till the last data arrives from the response. So that is why we have the last value from. So there is a first value from also. That means as soon as the first data receives, the response starts. That means it will integrate to the end user. This is part of the RxJS component. RxJS is predominantly used in Angular or Node, predominantly because the RxJS is the component which network communications happens through this RxJS model. So RxJS is basically the common. Again, it's a package by itself. It's default added. So this package uses mostly the all network related activities is handled by the RxJS candidate. So I can cancel a request. I can, in case if the request already fired, but I want to cancel it in between, I can cancel it. But if I'm clicking the second request, the first request I want to cancel before the second request is passed, I can do all that. So basically, it will avoid from choking. So you can ensure that it avoids choking of the request. So all that is possible through RxJS component. It's having its own facilities and features. So I'm not getting into that. So it is a separate component. You can search from Wikipedia or something. So you get lot of features of RxJS. So RxJS is a version by itself. So we use RxJS to communicate to the external world, and we are using HTTP client to connect to the HTTP protocol. So we are using HTTP post, and then this is the URL localhost 6000. That is what we have already started. So this is my localhost 6000. So this service I'm trying to connect through Angular now. Angular also service started. So Angular also service started. So now I want to pass the data and get the response from the service. So from UI, this is how the communication happens to the backend. So we have added an intermediate service called HTTP service. HTTP service is an intermediate service we have added to connect, to establish the connection between the server and the local browser. So that is connected through intermediate service called HTTP service. Okay. Don't confuse with reusable component. Reusable is also a service, but that is not meant for HTTP. That is for reusable methods, etc., etc. So that we have kept the reusable. Right now, we have not added any component for the reusable. Nothing is inside. So there are a lot of reusable things, which is all the services wanted to commonly use. You can use the reusable service. So with this now, let us move on to now register page. From register page, we want to handle it. First, let us just remember how our page looks like before I move further. So I just go to localhost 4200. So login works. So I click on register. This is what the register page is. On click of this button is what we are trying to address. And there is a name we have added. That name field also we can add it in this. form. So I go to the register component, HTML first. In this first is component, we have created this. Here I just add one more called name. I just use the word name here. So initially null, it is required. This validator, I don't want to use any validator here. So I don't want empty field. So required is there. So it will ensure that there is no added. So this new name, I want to put it as part of the HTML also. I close this now. User control and all I close for time being. This activity is now not needed. So we are focusing towards here. So I add one more here. One more div I add. Control C, Control V. I'll just put name here. And form control name, it is name. Email name, it's an input. Hint, you can give the hint if you want. I'll just say name. And I just put the name here. So string I'm passing in case of any error because we have a required field. So that required field will come as an error here. So it is added, done. Now I'll come back to this register component. Click on the register button, this one. This is where we have seen the total form. We want to now ensure we connect to that external data. How do we connect to the external data? Through this HTTP service. So this module I need to import. So this module I need to import over here. So import from HTTP service, right? 2 dots slash. It is a service by itself. So it's a module by, so service, I just add that service here. What is that? HTTP service. If any service you add, I need to put it as part of the constructor so that locally that variable can be used. Private, it is a local HTTP. I use the word HTTP colon. So HTTP service. So I need to add that as part of, so I have added here and then I added here. That means I'm linking to this HTTP service now. So why 2 dots? Because I want to come out of the folder. So I want, this is on the same hierarchy of register. So it's in the same hierarchy. So 2 dots will bring me to this hierarchy, app level hierarchy. In this app level only HTTP service is there. So we are able to connect to that service. And that service I'm referring in the constructor so that I can use this service inside my code. So I come here, let result equal await. When I use await, I need to use async because it is a promise. Await this dot HTTP dot. You can see now these two are appearing. I can just pass the parameter. So data, I just pass the parameter. So the parameter is I need to get the parameter now. I pass the parameter here. But I need to get the parameter. For timing, I just comment this line. Let us take this form. From this form, we'll take all the values and pass this value over here. So how the value to be passed? The value to be passed, we have already done that. I just take the Postman for our easy understanding because we have already passed through Postman. So the same register, upskill, register, register. This is the parameter we have passed: email, name, password. So this is the three parameters that we have passed. So I'll call now. I just execute this, check what is the value, where I have to get the value from. Then I can write the code easy. So for time being, I just commented it. Console log I have put, and this form I have put from register page. Just to know that it is coming from register page, I just added the register in the codes. Code is getting compiled. It is getting compiled. Now I go to the local host, register. It is giving some error. What is that error? We can see it either from here or from injector. HTTP service is not added. So this module is not added as a register module. So it is not part of the provider. So what does it mean is, we have added here, we have added in the code here, but this is not, here. We have added in the code here, but this is not recognized until this is part of this module. Part of this module, routing module, module component, register module. So it has to be a provider. So I did take the help of the existing project. I'll take the help of the existing project to copy that command. I used everywhere this service, every place I used it. We want it in the register page, so we'll go to the register page, module. So register module, provider, it is not there, it is all perfect. Social routing module, register component, common module, Angular common. Yeah, Angular common. Oh, HTTP module. Okay. Navigator HTTP auth service. Auth service is nothing but index. It is loaded here. So there is no problem here.
Sir, HTTP client module has to be imported in app module.asp.
App module, right? It is in the app module here.
Yes, sir. HTTP client module.
You have not imported. Oh, okay. Understood. So I'm going back to my, I have opened the another window. So I will go back to my first project. App module. You are talking about this area. App module here. So HTTP module needs to be added here. Correct?
Yes, sir. HTTP client module has to be added.
Added here. So here from Angular, I'll copy paste that also. Angular.
Line number 22, it is there, sir.
Line number 22. Interceptors.
As well as the client module.
I'll add that. That is easier to add. So HTTP client module. Anything in module, we need to add it here. Client module. So this is client module. We have added this. Now I save this, run this. I saved it. Sometimes when we add a module, he might give a success, but it may not work. At that time, just restart this entire portion. That is possible, I'm saying. So register. You got it. So email. So there is no problem then. So I put an email here. So abc2@gmail.com. Name ABC. Password 123456. 123456. Confirm password 123456. Now done. So now I have not added actually the thing because I commented that line. But when I click on the register, I'll see the console log. I see the console log, the entire form content. So click on register. I see the entire form content here. Just to know how do I take the value? So you can see that value form, email is there, name is there, password is there, confirm password is there. So we are only worried about this value. So there are each component I can get the value. Form level, this is how he is representing the form data. Because I have put here, I'll go back to FS project. In the register component, I close this app module. In component, I just put the form here, this dot form. So this dot form, if I just put this dot form dot value, just see what happens. I just put form dot value. What I mean is, it has got refreshed. Let us see this. So let us see this ABC2 again. abc2@gmail.com. Name ABC. Password 123456. 123456. Register. Now let me see here. You can see email, confirm, email, name, password, confirm password. You got directly the value. This is one way of getting the value. This is what we want. So basically email here, colon. So this dot form dot value dot email, then name, this dot form dot value dot name, then I have password. Make sure the syntax is right. The left hand side email, this should not vary. Name, password. So that should identical. So this dot form dot value dot password. So I passing this value. Now I have uncomment this line. I uncomment this line. I just paste console log result. I just paste the result in the end. Now all other connectivity already we have established. So HTTP service we have established, right? We have already made this register service is running already. Local host service is running. So the data that we get here, it will first connect to this HTTP service. This HTTP service in turn will connect to the HTTP post. In turn, he will connect to the third API service. That service will do the registration. He will return the value. As soon as it's returned, that is collected here, because I've used await here. So it collects here, and that collection I'm putting it as a result. So register result. Just paste it, execute it. Okay, so now it is done. Come back, clean, it is clean. Compilation is successful. Compilation is successful. Now I execute this code. Okay, cancel. abc2 gmail.com. Name, hello. Password 12345678. 12345678. Now I'm going to click on register. So after clicking on register, I want to see it in the console window how that registering is work. Before that, I want to check you clean this. You check this page also. This page is what the request is going out of the browser. Register has gone. So it has failed. Why it has failed, you will get to know from here. Button click listener. So again, there will be a failure here. Headers normalize, lazy input, localhost, HTTP service, OK false, name, HTTP response, API register, unknown error, is trusted true. So he is not able to actually handle this request here because he doesn't believe that it is coming from the right place. He doesn't believe that. So that is why he is saying is trusted true. You can see here the response HTTP failure response unknown is trusted equal to true. That means he feels that this is not the unsafe port. So unsafe port we are dealing with. Because of that, he is saying he is not connecting to that. So how do we manage this? These are all the common problems. This is what we call it as car sergeant or something like that, where my request is not authenticated. My request is not accepted. So how do we deal with this? So this is the common problem that happens when you are indirectly, that is your API service is independent, your this service is independent. This is a common problem that can happen. This is called car sergeant. So car sergeant means making sure that I allow this particular request to move. If I go back here, so that request has not reached this place at all. This request is not reached place. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, whether course has been there in index.js?
Index.js, I have not added anything. That's why I have not added.
Yes, sir.
Car
Like we need
sergeant.
to.
Car sergeant, I have not added. You talking about car sergeant?
Yes, sir.
No, car sergeant, I have not added purposefully. Okay. So in index.js, I have not added any car sergeant. But as he reached this car sergeant, as he reached this place, that itself is a important question that we need to ask. That means I'm talking about this place. Here, I'm talking about API before API. Here, he has not even touched this area. He is not even touched this area. Is rejected by the Angular itself. That is, browser itself has rejected it. So he has not even touched this area. So that is very important to understand where he is coming in, whether he has reached this point or he has not reached this point. That is very important to understand that as well. So let us just check. He says error in port. I'll just go with 8080 port. That is another common port we use. So let me ensure that there is no service running in 8080 port. So here I have to check here. So if 8080 port is, that is again a common port. Let us see whether he gives the same error or is it a different error. So I paste this again. Again you see here error unsafe, but it is again going to 6000 port because I have not changed the code here. FS project, HTTP service, it is now 8080 port. You can see now I have made it as 8080, still is not, it is going to 6000, but it is not going there at all. It is not checking that whether the presence of API itself, that is called sanitization. So in this concept of Angular, when you are connecting to the third party, we need to sanitize the URL. We need to confirm to the system this URL is a valid URL. That is very important from the perspective of, so I'll just go to abc2@gmail.com. Name, hello, password 123456 1234567, register. It is not a common port or anything. You can still see that 8080 is not error failed. So what is this time? He says error is trusted true. So this is not trusted component. So Angular doesn't accept this request to go through. The browser has been blocked. 4200 has been blocked cross policy. So now you can see a CARS policy because this port is 4200 has been blocked. That means that now the service is not accepted outside. So it is access HTML HTTP request. For this, we can add the CARS policy in the server side. So I will now come to the server side. In server side, for me here, I'll add a CARS policy. CARS policy is simple. First is I have to have that project enabled. That project I need to install now. I just make sure that that project is installed. We have to be very careful on this project implementation. So cars, this cars has to be imported. I don't know whether it is imported or not. I don't think I've imported it. Let me see the package.json, whether I've imported before or not. Cars is not imported. Cars is not imported. So I'll import the cars now. npm install cars. So import this first. If it is done, so once that is imported, you can see the cars has come as part of the dependency. It is automatically gets added. I don't have to use the save. Then use this import cars. This is called cars policy, cross origin policy. So import cars. These are all very much required in almost all projects. Wherever you go with Node, we need all this. Import cars. After that import, you need to manage the cars here. That's all. So I have to do it just before the things. So I just do it after this express. After this, I just do that. So 4200 port, you allow it. I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this. You allow this 4200 port based on this policy because you are now authorizing that this request can be added. So make sure the service is running. Service is running. It should not give any error. So DB connected. So it is not giving any error. Now I'll try to connect. For Postman, we never got this problem because browser doesn't worry on. See, Postman doesn't worry on that. So Postman is different. When it comes from browser, it is different. So that is called cars policy. So now I'll try to hit it again. Again, I'll clean it first. I'll clean it. No change done to the Angular side. Hit it again. Now you can see I got the response, success, return, ID number 6. So now after adding the cars policy, I'm able to connect it because now I authorized that particular request to be received. So that is, it is accepting that. So this is very important. One is sanitization of URL, especially when you are doing it through the third party, etc. In our case, it is the local host, so it has accepted it. Error will be very clear. If you just see the network, now that network layer, so register here, the register you can see here, per view, you see the response received. Responses received. So row count is 1, ID is 6. So this previously it has failed. Now it has success because of we have added the cars policy. So cars policy is very important candidate from the Angular perspective and service perspective. So both sides we need to ensure that this particular URL is allowed. So this is what is because the API service cannot accept the request from everybody. It has to be very clear and from where I can accept the request. Actually, this 4200 is the port where my server, it is my what do you call front end server. So for that port, I enabled it. It is nothing to do with browser. Browser is connecting to 4200 port. 4200 port in turn connects to the service, that is 8080 port. So that is why we are enabling the port of the publishing server. My case, UI publishing server is this 4200. That is why I enabled 4200 port in the cars origin. This is called cars origin. There are other security also to be considered. So as we see the error, we'll add it. So this is the portion. So origin HTTP local host 4200. As soon as I have added this, I'm able to execute it. And this routing is, so again, placing this is very important. You should not put it after the API. It will not allow. It is better you put it before the API routing. Actual routing, you just make sure you have added that cross origin. So CARS is a package, separate package. Install that package. Once you install it, give your URL. It's for localhost. Add it. Then that is done. Actually, it is nothing but a publishing server. Okay. So this is very important. So what we have done now, next job is login. I want to do a login command as well. So login. So registration. After that, what you want to do? Okay, you registered now. What you want to do? So I'm got the successful message. So if result equal to dot success. So what do you want to do? I want to navigate back router this dot, or I just call login. I just call login. Else, what do you want to do? I want to send a message to the UI. I want to send a message. So confirm. I can send a message in multiple ways. Right now, I want to send it in as part of the UI itself. That means I part of this HTML itself. I want to show it here, invalid user or something. I want to show it as part of this message here itself. So below this, maybe below this div, below the register button, I want to show the message. So that what I can do, one is I can create a constant file, constant guide, like form. I can create, say, one global register error message. So it is string, right? So register error message, it is a string. So either it can be a string and undefined. It can be either string or undefined. So register error message, I give it here. So if it is successful, I'll remove this register message undefined. Defined. This I want to add this dot register and message. So this dot register error message equal to, I want to pass it as result dot message. I want to pass directly the message here. If message is appearing here, if this message is appearing in the HTML, I want to display. So H2 or H6 NGF equals, if it is defined, then you show the message. I want to show it in the red color, style, color, red. Font is H6, so I'm not worried about font now. So only if it is undefined, I want to show the message. And I want to remain in that place. So I don't want to change anything. And later, after some time, I want to clean the message. That is called set timeout. After, say, 5 seconds, I want to clean that message. This dot register error message equal to undefined. So I can clean the message as well. After 5 seconds, I clean the message from there. So this is the way I want to do it. Now let us register with same user. Register with the same user. So ABC, one we know already there, gmail.com. What will be the username? I don't bother. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome, I think. You have used password, register. So I got the message. Let me see what message I have got. Console. Bad request. Duplicate key. So it is success equal to false. Duplicate key, bad request I have received. So, but I have to I post 400 bad requests. So since it is not passing the response back to me because it is received as a bad request. So I change my content here in index in this page. I change this package index not here. Go to api.ts. I don't send a bad request here. I'll just remove it. Show is as part of the result itself. So no, basically I don't want to change anything. I just send it as it is. As it is, let me just test it again. Register. Bad request again. It is, I'm getting it as a bad request only. I should not get that as bad request. Duplicate key violate, that is fine. Success equal to false. It should not be like this. Let me just check. I don't want a bad, I don't want a 400. Okay, let me see where that failure is. Is it coming here? DB failure only, right?
Sir, I think so. Your port
Sorry.
number is something.
Agreed.
Sir.
No, I did it on the place. I wronged it. I did it on the login page. I'm supposed to do it in the register page. Supposed to do it in the register page. So I saved it. Make sure that is restarted. Yes, it is. Make sure you resubmit the page. Resubmit the page. Now you can see duplicate key violates unique key constraint user email. Now after 5 seconds it has got removed as well and you are remaining on the same page. So because that 400 request, my HTTP rejects that request, so I don't want 400. I want to keep it as it is so that that is handled in the code. So a duplicate key violates unique key constraint. Since I have given H6, it is displaying in this bed and it has got removed as well. Because after 5 seconds, I have undeleted that undefined I have done. So if I put it as a new one now, abcd3@gmail.com, if I do this, now it will read login to login page, it will come because it is successful message. It's a successful message and you are now redirected to the login page. So you are successfully moved to the login page. Okay. So this is the way you can add so many things on this. You can have a stack that is kind of a dialogue kind of a thing. Snack bar. Snack bar is nothing but the message you will retain on the, even if you move it, I can say you are successfully registered. Please log in using this button. So I want the exercise to do. I want you to continue with login works. Create this login page. Try to see whether you are able to manage it for the login. So you have to validate the login. All scripts are there with you. As soon as you log in, we need to come to the home page. What is that home page? We'll decide in our next class. So I want that this to be completed and do for login. Create a page for login. Right? So that is the exercise. You can do it. And make sure you are able to manage this flow. Later, you can come up with user lists. I want to list all the users. Assume that you are an admin user. I want to see all the users in the list, right? I want you to delete a user, add a user from that page. So that is, we'll continue in our next subsequent sessions. Okay. So I want to end this session with this today. Any questions, please let me know. So what I have done today, not major work, only one thing that I have added. One is cars origin I have added using the cars package. So I'll put that as part of the code. Index.ts. I've added this package. Added the above package as part of our node TS server project, and added the above line in index.ts file. After that, I've added cars origin. After your app is registered, Express, I've added the cars origin. This is called cross origin implementation. This ensures the URL is permitted by the server. So in our case, we added this. After that, in the register component, I have added this page, this component. So it will not take full. So I copy paste part by part. After that, this one. Okay. So I've added all that component as part of the code. So please make sure same thing you do it for login. Create a URL, create a template that is login component like username, password, email, password, and validate that with the end user, that is server. Server side we have already created. You just have to add it, and then in case if you are successful, we need to redirect to the home page. Home page is a new module that we are going to create in the subsequent classes. So we are ending our session with this today. Any questions you can let me know. Okay then. Thank you. Bye.